Hello everyone, hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today we're going to be rating all of the bosses in Shadow of the Erdtree from easiest to hardest and from best to worst. I wanted to rate the bosses based on how difficult they were and also if they were enjoyable to fight. Did the moves feel rewarding? How many times I got bent over, etc, etc. Now there are 38 individual bosses in the Elden Ring DLC. Just look at this jam-packed lineup and we're going to be rating all of them. Yes, you heard me correctly. We'll be rating all of the bosses, not just the remembrance one, because mama raised no bitch and I ain't afraid to put my opinion out there on the internet. So you're definitely getting the whole package today, boys. Besides two, and I'll explain why when we get to the tier list, why those two bosses are going to be excluded. So let's not piss fart around any longer, boys, because I think this is going to be a long one, so let's jump straight into it. Alright, so I fucking lied already. We're actually going to be banishing four bosses straight to the Shadow Realm. We're not even going to be thinking about them, not even going to be talking about them. And the main reason for that is they are repeats. They are repeat bosses straight from the base game. They've just made them a little harder. And that's all she wrote, really. So the four bosses I'm going to be talking about is the Fallen Beast buffed, literally the same fucker. Demi-Human Queen Midra, going down an F tier because it is just another demi-human. Also Jagged Peak Drake. This might be a hot take one, bit of a controversial one, but it's just the same fucking Drake we fought 50 times in the base game. Now he has lightning. Whoa, fucking so different. No. He's going down F tier. These doesn't mean these bosses are F tier. It just, I'm putting them down here because they're just repeat bosses. We've seen them before. It's nothing new, so we're not going to talk about it. There is one more. Where's the last one? The Tree Sentinel ×2 buffed. They didn't feel fucking buffed. They're literally the same Tree Sentinels, just in a different area. So yeah, they're just a repeat boss as well. So going down in the F tier. Now do not worry, I will be showing you boss clips as I'm talking about the bosses. I'm just getting rid of these ones for now. Do not stress, you're not going to have to look at a black screen and some random fucking yobbo up in the top right hand corner. You are going to be seeing boss clips just so I can try and make this video a little bit more entertaining and so you're not just listening to me dribble shit the whole time. Now first up we have Ancient Dragon Man. Now Ancient Dragon Man, he's an alright fight I suppose for what it is. I think the design of him is pretty cool. He's just a Ancient Dragon Man wielding a fucking big katana. It's pretty badass, to be fair. His moveset isn't really anything special. It's literally the exact same moveset that you get when you get the weapon. I didn't have too much trouble with Ancient Dragon Man the whole 4 times I've beaten the DLC. I think it's a pretty chill fight. It's a cool fight, but then like I suppose the whole reason the fight's cool is because of the weapon he is wielding. So I think I'm going to throw Ancient Dragon Man in D. He's a pretty standard fight. It's just nothing special. The main thing that is special, I think personally, is the friggin' weapon that he's wielding. And it is really cool that you do acquire that when you beat him. So I think Ancient Dragon Man to D is not too hard. He's still like a cool design, but compared to a lot of other things in DLC, he is very subpar. Alright, so next up we have Ancient Dragon Sanisact, and I just did a whole thing talking about why I thought this boss was good and blah blah blah, and I just realized that this boss is literally just a repeat. It is just a repeat. If I'm going to say this boss is a little different, then the Jagged Peak Drake's a little different, and the Fallen Star Beast is a little different. With that ideology, I think the Ancient Dragon has to just go in F tier because it is just a repeat. So yeah, technically, there's not 38 individual unique bosses, there's 33 individual and unique bosses. Well, give and take the double ups. But after thinking about it a little bit, I do think Ancient Dragon does need to be down in F tier since it is pretty much just a repeat boss. It's the same as the other Ancient Dragons, just with some extra steps. Alright, next boss we have is Bayle the Dread, an actual boss that we can discuss a little about since it's a big bad boy. It's not a remembrance boss, but he probably should have fucking deserved it. Now all I have to say about the Bayle fight is it's a fucking masterpiece. The Bayle fight is so good. It's such a good dragon fight. I don't care if people say they don't like it, he's too hard, he's too annoying. I don't care. He is a dope friggin' fight, arguably one of the best fights in the whole entire DLC. Just the pure cinema that FromSoft created when he phases and he grows the big fucking wings and the music kicks in and he's flying around dropping shit on you. Oh, it's so good. The first time I did the Bayle fight, my heart rate was probably over 100 just because of the cinematic masterpiece that the actual fight was, and especially when that music kicks in when he phases. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's such a good fight. I really do like the Bayle fight. He does have some annoying moves, I will admit. He does have some annoying moves. The fact that you can only lock onto his friggin' head. I know he's only got one leg, but at least have a body lock on. At least have a body lock on. Maybe it just didn't work right, or it didn't feel right, or maybe the camera angle was just really bad and that's why they just gave you a lock onto the head. Or maybe FromSoft just said, fuck you, and just gave you a lock on the head and said, yeah, deal with that now. Try and figure out how to beat the dragon. But either way, I do think the Bayle the Dread fight is friggin' epic. Obviously doing Egon's quest, getting Egon in the fight as well. It's one of the summons you just have to do because the voice acting is just peak friggin' voice acting. Arguably one of the best voice actors in the whole entire game. Where would I put Bayle on the tier list though? He is fun to fight, he is challenging, and he is rewarding. He is rewarding. Once you figure out how to dodge all these moves, you do feel like an absolute badass. He can't be S tier because the lock-on is tragic. The lock-on is so bad that you only get a head lock-on, and it can be super jarring, super awkward sometimes. So I think I want to put Bayle S, but just because FromSoft like shitting on Dragon lock-on, I am going to put him A. That might be controversial, but either way, I friggin' love the Bayle fight. I think it's absolutely fantastic. All right, next up we have Black Knight Erdtree. Black Knight Erdtree, I think that's how you say that. I'm pretty sure this is the Black Knight with in-fort Reparand with the Twin Blade. This son of a bitch is not actually difficult. It's the room that they've put him in. The room is so small, his Twin Blade covers the whole room, which can definitely be very awkward. He has some crazy combos that he can just whip out of nowhere. But once you figure out those combos, he's not really a hard fight. He is still fairly squishy compared to a lot of the other bosses in the DLC. And if you have enough blessings, you're probably going to absolutely steamroll this guy. I just still think this is a really cool boss. It's not as cool as some of the other bosses, for sure. And like I said, the main reason that this guy is even remotely or even slightly annoying is because of the friggin' room that FromSoft decided to put him in. I did like this boss. I thought it was cool. I thought some of the combos that he had, as well as like, you know, the Crucible Twin Blade spin that he has is also nice to see. It was cool. I think Black Knight Erdtree is probably going to be C. He is a cool fight. Again, he isn't anything special. There's a million of these enemies out in the open world in the DLC. So his uniqueness kind of falls off once you realize there's like 50 others of him out in the open world. So I think a C is probably good. Maybe D. I think he's a little bit more annoying than Ancient Dragon Man for me personally. He can still definitely fuck me up if I'm not paying enough attention. So yeah, I think Black Knight Erdtree probably deserves a C. Now we got his counterpart, his brother in arms, Black Knight Garou. I think this is the guy that shoots the frog tongue out. He's got the shield and the hammer. So Black Knight Garou, I think I'm just going to put him in C as well. I think he's equally as annoying as Erdtree, mainly because he has the shield. The shield can be really annoying to deal with. I do think like both the Black Knights, they are cool fights, but like I said, they lose their uniqueness because there's just so many of them in the open world. So I do feel like both of them deserve a C tier. All right, next up we have BlackGaol Knight. Yes, that is jail. It's not gold for anyone that still didn't realize that. Now this guy is something else. The fact that you fight this guy almost at the start of the DLC, I feel like more than 80% of people probably fought the BlackGaol Knight as their first boss, if not the Fire Golem. This guy, being the first boss you have to fight, can be a real cocksucker. He can be a real big cocksucker because of how hard he hits. You've probably got no blessings at this point. He's super tanky because of the armor he's wearing. Great armor, by the way. But he hits like a truck. His Astral War can be kind of difficult to deal with the first time, considering how quick it comes out. He has a very in-depth kind of move set, and he can catch you off guard if you definitely aren't learning the moves or you're not paying enough attention. But the question is, does this BlackGaol Knight, do I think he's harder than the Black Knight? I do. I feel like I have way more trouble with BlackGaol Knight. Even when I've got blessings going through DLC again, he can still just fuck you up. If you're not paying attention, this man will just put you in the dirt. So I think I'm going to put the BlackGaol Knight B. I think B, he's definitely, I feel like me personally, he's harder than the Black Knights, but he's not as annoying as the Black Knights, mainly because Black Knight Erdtree in that friggin' room. So yeah, I think BlackGaol Knight, I think it's a B. That might be a controversial one, I'm not sure, but I think I'm happy with B on that one. All right, next up we have Chief Bloodfiend, and I'm going to make this really nice and simple. Straight in the D, baby, straight in the D. This boss is exactly the same as all the other elite Chief Bloodfiends that you fight. There's plenty of them in the overworld. This boss is exactly the same as those elites, exact same moveset. The moveset isn't really difficult. That's triple stomp can be really annoying, the boof, boof, and then That one, just the timing of that really just fucking rattles my brain, and I always get hit by the third one, which usually one-shots me. So that's the only move that kind of is annoying with the Chieftain Bloodfiends. But so for that reason, I'm putting in D. Besides that, the Chief Bloodfiends are not really that hard. All right, next up we have Commander Gaius, aka Commander fucking Dickhead. I did not like this guy. I did not like this guy whatsoever. He is annoying. He's annoying. That charge attack has one of the tightest hitboxes you've ever seen. I'm pretty sure Snoop Dogg's joints aren't even as tight as Commander Gaius' charge attack. It is ridiculous how tight that dodge is for that charge attack. But besides that, learning the moves I felt rewarding. Once you got them all down, you did feel like an absolute badass taking on this fucking boar rider with gravity magic. If it wasn't for the charge attack and his stupid booty kick, that back kick, I swear, you'll be on the side of him, he'll purposely just fucking throw his ass in your face and kick. Like instantly, not even like a little bit of a bit of a turn and then he's just whoop. Oh, that back kick, yeah, that back kick really pissed me off. It was something else. But overall, the fight, I think it is okay. I didn't like the charge attack at all. That charge attack is brutal. Once you do figure out the windows, you start to get a hang of it. But even after 4 attempts, I'm still kind of taking the L on some of those charge attacks. To be fair, I like the design. I like the idea. I did feel like this fight was rewarding when you did learn the moves. We're going to go A. I think Commander Gaius needs to be an A. I think putting him in the B tier with BlackGaol, he's definitely better than BlackGaol Knight. Definitely better than BlackGaol Knight, besides all the negativity. I think A is good. I feel like Bayle has some negativities as well, hence why he's not S tier, so I think I'm happy that Commander Dickhead is going in A. Alright, next up we have Count Ymir. This is a pretty easy one for me. I'm going to throw Count Ymir in the D category. I thought Count Ymir was a pretty cool boss for what it was. He's a spellcaster type boss, and he used a lot of new spells, all the new finger magic, which was pretty cool to see. It's nice that he didn't just start throwing out other glintstone magic. He was just using mainly his finger sorceries. But to be honest, it wasn't a hard fight. You can very easily just walk all over Ymir. If you got a poise build, if you got a big strength build with big hammer, big colossal weapon, this guy's gonna fucking hate his life because he has absolutely zero poise. You can just knock him to oblivion and you just take him out just that easy. So I think Ymir, cool fight, but yeah, I think he deserves a spot in the D tier. So next up we have Curseblade Labyrinth. Now Curseblade Labyrinth again is another one of those bosses at the end of a dungeon where it's just exactly the same as a lot of the other elite NPCs you fight in the overworld. All he gets is like one extra move. He coats black darkness everywhere so you can't see, and he does like a shadow teleportation attack, which is, it's cool to see, but overall he's pretty much exactly the same as the other Curseblades that you fight out in the overworld. These guys are annoying though. They have some insane 20 hit combos. If you're not ready for, you're just gonna get absolutely walloped. I think for that, this is getting hard, man. I don't know if Curseblade deserves to be in D or C, because when I think of Ancient Dragon, Bloodfiend, and Count Ymir, they might get a kill on me or two if I'm fucking giving them too much respect. Whereas Curseblade, I will give him all the respect, and he will still punish me if I'm not ready for those 20 hit spinny combos that he does, which are very hard to read because he's all like loopy and unorthodox. I think I'm going to put Curseblade C. I'm not sure about that. I'm really not sure about that one. Yeah, look, I'm happy with Curseblade and C. I'm happy. I'm moving on. Alright, next up we have Dancer of Ranah. I'm going to make this a quick one. I'm going to throw this into the D category between Chief Bloodfiend and Count Ymir. Dancer of Ranah, it is a cool boss for what it is. Not very difficult. Absolute cakewalk. You're pretty much just going to bulldoze Dancer of Ranah with just about any build that you might be running in Elden Ring. So because it's a kind of a basic boss with a kind of a basic move set, I think, D tier is probably very fitting for Dancer of Ranah. Alright, up next we have Deathknight version 1 and Deathknight version 2. We're probably going to we'll just do these together. Deathknight version 1 is the one with the 2 axes, and Deathknight version 2 is the one with the long axe. I personally think that Deathknight version 1 is a little bit harder than Deathknight version 2. Just his double spinny thing that he does with his 2 axes with all the lightning takes my little noodle brain a couple of attempts to get warmed up to that move. I think that's definitely a lot more punishing than Deathknight 2. I know some people are going to probably be the other way on that, but besides that, they do kind of share the same moves. Besides the weapons that they're using, they do pretty much share the same kind of moves. They both do that spinny lightning AoE. They both do the grab that drains all your friggin' health and gives them health. I thought that was really cool. It was very surprising to get caught by that move for the first time. I think the Death Knights, I think they deserve to be in B. They're very challenging fights. They're rewarding fights as well. Once you get their moveset down, they feel very rewarding to actually beat. There's nothing really cheap about them unless you accidentally get grabbed by that grab attack when they're nearly dead and you just waste all your efforts. I think they provide a very good challenge while still being very rewarding to the player. So I think for that matter, they do deserve to be a B. I don't think they go up to A just because they're not as cinematic. I think a lot of the Remembrance bosses and stuff are going to be S and A for sure, but I think the Death Knights just missed out on an A tier with me. I'm just thinking of what I would put A, and I just don't think the Death Knights are there. Oh, fuck! I forgot about the Deathrite Bird. Oh, yep, throw him in F tier, throw him in. Another repeat boss, another friggin' repeat boss. We're not going to be wasting our time talking about this absolute imposter here, trying to sneak his way into the DLC. Next up, we have Demi-Human Swordmaster Onze, or Onze, or Ozzy. Maybe it's Ozzy. It's Demi-Human Swordmaster Ozzy. Yep, that's what he's going to be called. This guy, little Yoda looking ass motherfucker, is no joke. If you give this guy just an inch, he'll take a mile. He is happily comfortable taking a mile if you give him an inch. For his looks, he doesn't look like he's going to absolutely bend you over and raw dog you, but he will, and he fucking is happy to do it. Especially on New Game 7, this guy will two-shot you. He will two-shot you with any of his magic attacks. It is pretty brutal. Now, I do feel like this guy is difficult if you go in with the wrong build. If you go in with a build that's got a lot of poise damage, you're going to have a good time. If you go in with a build that doesn't have a lot of poise damage, like light swords, curved swords, maybe some spears or whatnot, you are definitely going to have a bad time. I learned that the fucking hard way. This guy is no joke if you use a light weapon. Just because of the recent experience I had with him while trying to use curved swords, he's going to go on B. He's going to go below all these guys. Demi-Human Swordmaster is no joke. Like I said, if you give this guy an inch, he will take a mile. If you haven't gotten the true Swordmaster experience, use a dagger or a curved sword or light sword and try and fight this guy. It's a fucking pain. Oh, great. Ooh, we got Divine Beast Dancing Lion. Oh, I have a thing or two to say about this piece of shit. Now, I do not find this boss difficult. No, do you know what I find difficult about this boss? The fucking camera angle. He is so long. He's so long. So when he stands up, your camera's like this. It's fucking on the... You get the worst view of this boss. And the camera angle when he's throwing his head around, you get caught in like the side of him and you can't see the other attack coming over. It's a nightmare. It's a camera angle friggin' nightmare. I thought Ancient Dragons were worse. FromSoft said, nah bro, hold my beer. We got Divine Beast Dancing Lion for you. That even better. The fact that this boss has 3 different stances, the lightning, the ice, the wind, very cool. I think that's a very cool mechanic. Even if the lightning mechanic is fucking bullshit. It is actually bullshit when all the lightning bolts come down and you might dodge backwards to get out of a move. Oh no, there's a lightning bolt waiting for you. Kapow, go back into enemy range and he hits you and you're dead. So that's super frustrating, but the ice phase, you can jump over his big divine stomps, and the wind tornado that he throws at you just run around. Easier to dodge than his lightning phase is like cranked up to 1,000. All the other stances are like, they're not too bad. Lightning's just like, brrr. Oh, it's so fucking brutal. I do think the Divine Beast Dancing Lion does deserve a spot in A tier, even though he is a monumental asshole. I do feel like it is a fun fight for the most part, and it is a cool idea. It is a cool fight. Does it reward the player? No, because the camera angle is just arse. It is so much arse, but I do still like the design and the moves of the Divine Beast Dancing Lion. Divine Beast still deserves a spot in A tier, but it was nearly down here. I think now that I've done a little bit more, he's going in A tier. All right, next up we have the Furnace Golem. Now I have already premeditated this one, been thinking about this one for a little bit. I was going to put it in C. After thinking about it a little bit more, I'm probably going to put it in D. We're going to put it like up ahead this pack a little bit. I do like the Furnace Golems though. I think the Furnace Golems are very well designed. They're exactly how you would think this type of enemy would try and kill you if you're in this fantasy world. So I think the vibe check and the moveset for this enemy are just on point. It sucks you have to fight 6 of them. If you didn't have to fight 6 of them, maybe he would be a C guaranteed, but the fact that he is a bit of a repeating boss, a repeating trend, that's why he's going to go down in D. But I do really like the Furnace Golems. I think they're fantastic. They're not too annoying to kill once you work them out. It's very easy to do it on Torrent. They do become a bit of a cakewalk, but they're still fun to fight. It offers a different set of challenges to the player, and you have to find a different way to overcome them. So I really did enjoy the Furnace Golems. Even though they're in a D tier, I do think these guys are like an S tier FromSoft design boss. All right, we have the Ghostflame Dragons. It's hard to put these in the tier list because they're kind of the same drakes that we fight in the base game. Now they're just bony and they have Ghostflame. They do look different. I'm so happy that they did a Drake design that doesn't just look like every other fucking Drake that's in the base game, besides 2, I think, literally 2. Whichever one is the one that summons the fucking ads when he gets down to 50% health, he can suck a fucking fat one. He can suck the dirtiest turd imaginable. I hate gank fights, and that is the gankiest of any fight that I've ever done. It is pretty brutal. I raged a lot at just the fact that the ads were killing me more than the fucking dragon. So where would I actually put these guys? I think these guys deserve to be a C. Maybe not a B, because again, Drakes aren't exactly the most enjoyable thing to fight in this game because we fight so fucking many of them. But I do appreciate that they, FromSoft, tried to be a little bit different with the Ghostflame Drake while still staying true to how they already designed the Drake, so you're not getting a fucking jump scare when you go and fight them. They're doing some crazy shit. And for that reason, they are going in the C tier. I think I probably will. So I'm going to throw the Ghostflame Dragon ahead of these 3 just because I feel like these Ghostflame Dragons do make my butt cheeks a little bit moister than these 3, so for that reason they're going up ahead. We still got a lot to go. Hope you guys are still with me, man. This is taking a little bit longer than I expected. Now next up we have the Golden Hippo. Now that name is very misleading because it's basically a giant fucking porcupine in disguise. I think the Hippo is gotta be like up there with one of the more annoying fights in the DLC. That big mouth grab attack is super slow, it's super baiting, it's a little bit awkward to get used to, or at least for me it was anyway. When he goes in the second phase and grows the porcupine spines, shit does start getting a little bit more intense with this guy. I didn't have a lot of blessings the first time I fought him, so he definitely kicked my ass. I think the Golden Hippo probably deserves a spot in B tier. I'm going to put him below the Deathknights. I think he's not as hard, personally, for me as the Deathknights. These guys can really ruin your day. So can the Golden Hippo, but not as much as these guys. The Golden Hippo does, for me, have to be up there with Commander Gaius as one of the more annoying fights in the whole entire DLC. But it was cool that we got to fight like this big, massive hippo with porcupines on its back. I thought that was, it was pretty cool. Next up, we have the Lamenter. I'm going to put Lamenter in D. So the Lamenter's a very unique boss fight. He has very interesting and a very annoying move. Took a while to wrap my little noodle around it, but we did eventually get there. I did realize that when he does summon a whole bunch of clones, you need to take them out as quickly as possible. If you do not take them out as quickly as possible, you will get these masks of like death floating around your head. You get enough of those. When the Lamenter does do his crying animation, you will just die. One of the most anticlimactic death animations in the whole entire game. I know Mikkel and Radahn one's pretty bad where your heart just gets stolen, but I think Lamenter takes the cake, takes the top spot for being one of the weirdest death animations in the whole of Elden Ring. You kind of just get super depressed and crawl up in a ball and die. Kind of like half the people on the internet, am I right? That is basically the only hard mechanic he has. For that reason, I think Lamenter's going to be arguably one of the easiest DLC bosses. Right there with Count Ymir, so yeah, I think Lamenter definitely deserves a spot in the D tier. Ooh, next up we have Messmer.
Mongrel intruder.
Ooh, I think Messmer was definitely handing out those 18 inches, am I right, boys? And I think we're all gladly bending over and taking it. Messmer is such a good fight. Messmer is such a good fight. I feel like this is FromSoft boss design at its best. Just the whole boss, the voice acting, the OST, the second phase with all the snakes and stuff. It's a friggin' cool fight. It's a challenging fight. but it's so rewarding to get Messmer down. My 4th attempt at actually doing Messmer was super clean. Once you know all his moves, you can punish him so easily. Even in 2nd phase, if he, like, when he comes out of the snake phases, he does leave big windows that you can just go over and hit him. You're not going to really realize this maybe in your 1st attempt, but as you continue to fight in Messmer, it just gets better and better. It is such a fantastic fight, very cinematic, again with all the snakes flying at you, you go snake mode. Between the voice acting, the soundtrack, the move set, how rewarding it is, how much Messmer probably kicked your fucking ass, but you still enjoyed that he was kicking your ass. I think Messmer is arguably S tier. He is such a good fight. There's no bullshit. I think there might have been one weird hitbox with his snake attack, but for the most part, it was a clean fight. It is very, very well done. FromSoft deserved to have a little pass on the back after that one. I really, really enjoy the Messmer fight. Next up, we do have Metyr or Metyr. I think it's pronounced Metyr. Mother of Fingers. Now this boss I thought was really cool. I thought this was a very well designed boss. The lead up to the boss is also really cool as well. Like, you're doing all these quests for Ymir. You know something's coming at the end because you go on all these finger ruins, and it was cool that we did get to fight the Mother of Fingers at the end of that quest line. Now this boss does remind me of the daughter Abridus, daughter of Cosmos from Bloodborne. Very well, at least I see some similarities in those two bosses. I thought the moveset was pretty rewarding for Metyr. There was a couple of moves that are a little bullshit, where she goes up in the air and shoots the beams out. I think it's very, very almost impossible to dodge the first beam if you're anywhere near it because it's too close to the AoE circle. So like, yeah, you got nowhere to go. And the one when she's up in the air and she's spinning around really quickly and then lands on the ground, that is also annoying. It has a very, very tight window, at least for my experience. That felt like I had a very, very tight window to try and dodge that move. But besides that, I thought the moveset was pretty good for the most part. Very easy to read. It wasn't too difficult to get a handle on. The OST is amazing as well. For that reason alone, I think Metyr deserves a spot in the A tier. Alright, next up we have Midra, Lord of Frenzy Flame. This is my favorite boss of DLC. I'm just going to put it out there now because it is my favorite boss in the whole DLC. The cutscene, awesome, absolutely horrific, friggin', it's just so metal. I love it. The OST for this boss fight is so good. It's so good. Apparently it's the Merchant OST, like sped up a little bit with a little bit more flair on it, but it does sound very similar. The moveset for Midra as well is also very crisp. I love the moveset. I love that he's throwing Frenzy Flame at you. He's dropping his head on the ground, blowing up the whole fucking room. It is chaotic, like his name says. I love that the fight is chaotic and he's the Chaos boss. It fits perfectly. I thought Midra was a super rewarding fight to get down. It feels super good when you get him down as well. You feel like an absolute Chad dodging through his Frenzy Flames and then just beating his ass to a bloody pulp. He reckoned he'd endured enough. But I'm sure by the time I was done with him, yeah, he probably had endured enough. Now, I said I wasn't going to have any bias here, but let's be real. Let's be real. Midra is fucking S tier. He is S tier. Cool boss, cool cinematic, cool soundtrack, cool moves. It's a cool boss. I think, Messmer I think is a little bit better than Midra, but Midra is still up there with one of the coolest bosses in the whole entire DLC. Alright, next up we have Putrescent Knight. Now, just like Midra, Putrescent Knight is another one of my favorite bosses in the DLC. So I'm going to try and not be too biased here. Now the Putrescent Knight I think is a perfect culmination of being difficult but still being rewarding at the same time. And I'm going to explain why I think that is. If you notice when you're fighting the Putrescent Knight, I think this works with nearly every weapon. I think they've designed this boss so well. If you attack at the wrong time, you get punished. If you panic dodge, you get punished. This boss is designed to punish you when you make the wrong decision. And then it helps you learn the boss even not so much quicker, but it helps you learn the boss easily because you're like, oh, I got hit there. Let's not try and do an attack in that window. Doesn't work. You try and roll at the wrong time. Well, better not try and roll at the wrong time. I'm just going to get fucked up. I felt like the Putrescent Knight is perfect. It is a perfect boss It's not too hard, it's not too easy, it's very punishing if you're doing the wrong things or you're trying to be too aggressive or you're trying to panic roll. He will punish you for it. But I do think Putrescent Knight is S tier. It is just so well designed. It's hard to put this guy in with the A tier, considering that these guys do have some issues with them. Putrescent Knight, the camera angle's fine, the soundtrack's good, the moves are good. The second phase isn't too annoying to deal with. Once you realize you can just jump over the blue flames, everything gets easier. And let's be honest, Putrescent Knight is basically Orvan of Kos from Wish. He's the wannabe Orvan of Kos, but I'm so glad that they clearly, you know, wanted to do a throwback of Orvan of Kos, because that weapon that Putrescent Knight is using is literally the fucking weapon Orvan of Kos has. Tell me otherwise. Alright, next up we have Radahn, Consort of Miquella. Arguably one of the most controversial bosses in the DLC, because he's arguably one of the hardest FromSoft bosses ever created. I thought a Shin was always going to hold that top spot up there with like Orvan of Kos and Manus, but now, yeah, Radahn's probably taken that top spot for a lot of people. I was on the fence, but no, I think Radahn's definitely up there with one of the hardest motherfuckers FromSoft has ever made. Now, we could sit here all day and talk about Radahn, because this man's got 50 friggin' moves, and you have to learn how to dodge all of them. But I will say, Radahn's moves are the most satisfying to learn how to dodge. It might suck ass, you might be there 2-3 hours trying to learn how to dodge one move, but when you do finally get it, and you get it consistently, it feels really good. Like, out of all these bosses that we've already categorized already, Radahn has to be the most satisfying boss to dodge. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I had to look up a guide on how to dodge a lot of those phase shifting moves where he's up in the air and he's like, chop, 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 chop. Ooh. And then a couple of these other ones that he also does, I kind of had to look to see how to actually dodge them properly. Because I literally couldn't work it out on my own. I thought I could, and I wasn't really making any headway, so good old YouTube came in clutch there. But I would say the biggest reason, the biggest negative to the Radahn Consort of Miquella fight, when you get the second phase, your vision gets thrown out the window. It is gone. You want to see moves? No, not in second phase. You ain't going to see shit. Between the hair and all the beams of light going everywhere, your vision is very obstructed. It is very obstructed. There's a few moves I can think of right now where Radahn will do like, when Radahn pulls swords from one side of his body, you can't see them coming at you, and a lot of his moves have very similar wind-up. So you're like, oh, okay, this is this move because he's done that first, and it's not, but you couldn't even see it coming, so you couldn't make that adjustment. You just had to fucking guess in the moment, and that is not rewarding, that is not fun, and it, unfortunately, Radahn does come under a little bit of design flaw with the fact that there's so much yellow beaming light everywhere, and his hair covers his fucking swords. Like, when he comes from the left or the right, why does his hair get to cover, or Miquella's hair, cover his swords? His swords are so big. Like, you'd think you'd be able to see them, but no, Miquella's mane is even bigger. Little ridiculous. It, you know, it doesn't take you out of the fight too much, but there is plenty of times that I've had, you know, doing Radahn 4 times, where you're on a good run and he fucks you over because you can't see. You literally couldn't see what move was coming, and you couldn't preempt what move was coming because they will have similar wind-ups. Besides all the negativity around Radahn, like whether it be the moves being shitty, him being too hard, or he doesn't make any sense in the lore, but I still felt like, even though he's really fucking brutal to fight, super punishing, it is rewarding to beat Radahn. It is rewarding to dodge all of those moves, and let's be honest, the soundtrack is arguably one of the best soundtracks in the whole entire DLC. When that second phase music kicks in and he's swinging swords at you, your heart really does get going. It is truly something special. So he does come with these issues. I don't think Radahn can be S, but I do feel like he's a solid, very solid A+, A tier. All right, next up, we do have the 2 bears here. I'm gonna just quickly put those guys in C right now. I thought the bears were cool. They're exactly the same as like the rune bears we fight in the base game, but now they got red hair on them. I think that's to kind of maybe symbolize something. I'm not a lore guy, I don't know, but you know, they got red hair for a reason. But that's the only difference between the rune bear and these new great red bears in the DLC. Is They're a little bigger and they got red hair. They don't really have any new moves. They are using a lot of repurposed moves that a lot of other bosses and a lot of other enemies have in the base game. That's not a bad thing by any means necessary, but you know what to expect. You see that move, like, oh, I know to dodge this. Godfrey has a similar move or something, you know? So I think for that reason, they just deserve to go on the C tier. They're not as memorable as these other bosses above them, but I still feel like they are cool. I still like riding over to where the bears are just to fight them because they're not really that hard. They are a fun fight. So I think, yeah, the bears, I'm going to categorize them together. I think they do deserve to be in the C tier. Next up, we have the red bear, which is in the mausoleum, the NPC red bear, not the actual red bears that are roaming around. This guy sucks ass. This guy actually sucks so much ass. He's not difficult, but boy, can he punish you very, very quickly. The charge attack that you get on the bear claws has so much reach because you just leap. You just leap forward and you do like a cross slash, but you're moving while you're doing it. The red bear does the exact same fucking thing. So he is super mobile all the time and he can be very, very hard to hit if you've got the wrong build. So why he's not difficult, he can definitely be a pain in your ass. He's a massive pain in my ass. I think he deserves to be in a C tier as well. I don't think he's B. I think these guys definitely pose more of a threat than the red bear, plus they're more enjoyable to fight than the red bear. This guy just sucks. This guy just sucks. You either go in and you delete him, or you go in and he fucking deletes you like 4 or 5 times before you get it done. So I think the red bear does deserve to go on C. The design is okay. The moveset's really annoying. He's not too difficult, but he can definitely punish you if you're not paying enough attention. All right, we got 5 more bosses to go over, and they're an absolute banger 5 to be fair. First up, we have Rellana, Twin Moon Knight. Ranah's sister. I swear to God, it feels like I'm having a stroke trying to say these 2 names, Rellana and Ranah. Who the fucking... Alright, so Rellana, the Twin Moon Knight. This woman is no joke. This lady is no friggin' joke. She's happy to put the strap on and ride you all night long. It's a very fun and spectacle fight, but she has so much stam. She has infinite stamina. She doesn't stop. You don't get a breathing room to even scratch your ass. It is non-stop chaotic sword fighting. To be fair, maybe the first 2 attempts I was a bit smooth brain and I couldn't really work out what was going on. The 3rd and 4th attempt, I'm much better equipped at dealing with Rellana. I know her moves. I know what to look out for. It has gotten a lot easier and it does feel really rewarding to dodge all her combos. I think her Twin Moon move is one of the coolest moves in the DLC. It's very fun to dodge that move because you have to jump 3 times. It's cool. I really like the actual moon move that she does drop down. I do think Rellana is a very, very well designed fight. Alright, Ranah's going in S tier. I've sat here for like 10 minutes trying to think if it deserves to be A or S. And if I'm going with the ideology that these 5 here couldn't be S if I want them to because they come with issues or they have some slight design flaws, and Ranah's a clean fight, I feel like Ranah just doesn't deserve to be an A. I think she just sneaks into S for the fact that there's no shenanigans, it's a clean fight, there's nothing obscuring your vision, you can actually see the boss at all times. Yeah, I think Ranah deserves to be S. That was a tough one, I wasn't sure about A or S, but yeah, okay, I think Ranah probably does deserve to be in the S tier. Alright, next we have Romina, Saint of the Bud. I really actually kind of enjoyed this fight. I thought this was a pretty cool fight. There's some weird hitboxes with the centipedes, but once you get used to the dodge timing, the fight doesn't really become that difficult. I do enjoy fighting this boss though. I really, really do enjoy fighting this boss. I don't think it'd be S tier just because she is a little on the easier side. Just like Bayle and Radahn, I think Romina's soundtrack is arguably one of the best soundtracks in the game. It's really rewarding. Once you do learn all the moves aren't too hard to get used to. For the most part, Romina's a pretty clean fight. Very clean fight, fun fight. The soundtrack just kicks ass. I don't think Romina's S tier, but I think Romina's a solid A, and I'm actually going to put her way above these three. I think Romina's fantastic. I actually really like that fight. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I actually am starting to realize that I do enjoy the Romina Saint of the Bud fight. I think it's great, so I think it deserves to be an A tier. Alright, Scadutree avatar, let's just put that in F and let's not talk about it. No, we're not putting the Scadutree avatar in F. It should be F. I hate this fight. If there was one Remembrance fight I actually dislike, it's the Scadutree, or Scadutree, however you want to pronounce your old English. He's a real cocksucker. He's just a cocksucker. I like the fact that he had 3 phases. That was a big surprise. You kill the second phase, you think you're done, he comes back out again. You're just like, ah! Why? But the moveset on this shitty piece of driftwood sucks. It sucks. I hate the thorns. The thorns, they're too big. They obscure your vision. Not that it's too problematic. He's not throwing a million attacks at you every second, but the thorns do obscure your vision. It can be really shitty. I hate the timing on the thorn attack that he does, the big AoE thorn attack, because you don't get any visual clue that he's about to release the thorns and you're about to get speared by them. Besides that, there are some moves that this the tree does have that I think are really cool. The big charge attack, sliding attack that he does, very cinematic. I think it's very cool watching a big tree go like flying through the golden water. I think I am just going to put the Scadutree up in A. I do want to put him in B because he's a little piece of shit and I hated him. But, you know, I got to come in with some non-biased opinion here. I do think he's an A. He's a very well-designed boss, besides a few little hiccups here and there. But again, that could just be skill issue on my part. I think the overall design, the soundtrack, the atmosphere in the boss arena is really well done as well. But I do believe that the Scadutree avatar does deserve to be in the A tier. Oh my god, 2 left, man. Woo! This has been a long video. I've been recording nearly 2 hours. Holy fuck. Alright, let's burn through the last 2. Let's speed run the last 2. Rakkassar. We're going to put Rakkassar in C. Rakkassar is annoying, has a really annoying Asher War move because of the weapon that you get from the actual boss. If this motherfucker spams the Asher War, you're going to have a bad time. If she doesn't spam the Asher War, you're going to have a good time. So I think for that reason, Rakkassar deserves to be in the C tier. It's punishing but rewarding at the same time. Alright, next up we have Jory, Elder Inquisitor. This guy is an absolute dick sucker, an absolute cock squeezer, if you will. Another gank fight. He likes summoning all of his boys to come in and light you on fire, jump on you, and throw golden boomerangs at you. Him himself, absolute cakewalk. Everything that he does in his boss fight, complete utter bullshit. I still, after 4 attempts, have no idea what's going on. I don't think you're supposed to know what's going on. It's just chaotic as shit. He's going in C tier because his boys also pop up again everywhere else in the game. You see plenty of enemies that look like Jory. I'm sure Jory has some significance, but he is just a basic bitch. Oh, we did it! We friggin' did it! It took us 2 hours, but we done it. The whole Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree boss tier list has been completed. And there it is. We got the S tier, the A tier, the B tier, the C tier, the D, and F is obsolete here. There was no boss that was F tier. There's no boss where I was like, that was a shit design, shit moves. What the fuck were you smoking from? So, no, the only reason these bosses are in F tier is because they're repeat. Also, let me know what you think of this tier list in the comment section below. Do you agree where I've put all the bosses, or do you think I'm just huffing friggin' bath salts? Let me know. But yeah, that is pretty much the tier list. I don't want to keep you guys here any longer than what you have to be, because this has already been an insanely long video. I did not expect it to be this long. So appreciate all love and support as always, guys. Until next time, stay safe. Peace out.